You have probably been in this exact position. It is late, your deadlines are piling up, and yet you are staring at a screen, letting another 30 minutes slip away. And right behind that glowing screen is a heavy, familiar feeling of guilt. Persistent bad habits are often a direct result of poor environmental design, rather than a lack of character. In his book, Atomic Habits, author James Clear points out a critical flaw in how we think about self-control, particularly in Chapter 7. He argues that relying on pure willpower to fight off modern distractions is a strategy that practically guarantees failure. We tend to look at highly successful, highly disciplined people and assume they possess some superhuman ability to resist temptation. We imagine them fighting off cravings all day and winning. The psychological reality is much less glamorous. People who appear highly disciplined actually just spend less time in tempting situations. That is the ultimate paradox of willpower. The people who exhibit the best self-control are the ones who are forced to use it the least. Willpower requires massive amounts of mental energy. It is a short-term, exhaustive emergency brake. It is absolutely not a sustainable long-term system for success. To see exactly how environment overrides personal discipline, we can look at a massive historical anomaly. In 1971, as the Vietnam War headed into its 16th year, visiting congressmen made a stunning discovery. As many as 20% of active service members stationed in Vietnam were addicted to heroin. It was a crisis that defied every standard model of moral discipline and addiction. But the post-war data revealed something even stranger. When these soldiers returned home to the United States, 90% of them eliminated their severe addictions almost overnight, without stepping foot in traditional rehab. The environmental cues of the war zone, the immense stress, the access, the peers, were entirely removed. Without the cues, the habit loop instantly collapsed. If a change in surroundings can dismantle a chemical dependency, it holds significant leverage over common daily habits like checking a phone. Researchers refer to this phenomenon as cue-induced wanting. It means an external trigger automatically forces your brain to crave a specific reward, regardless of your conscious goals. This diagram shows exactly how fast this happens. Clinical studies show that seeing a trigger activates the reward pathway in your brain in just 33 milliseconds. That is faster than your conscious thought can even register what you are looking at. Once the mental grooves of a habit are carved into your brain, they are almost never forgotten. Fighting a biological urge that activates in fractions of a second is incredibly draining. Once you visually process the cue for a bad habit, the biological battle is already lost. This brings us to James Clear's foundational framework for breaking bad habits. He calls it the inversion of the first law of behavior change. The rule is simple: make it invisible. If you want to stop the 33 millisecond hijack, you have to physically separate yourself from the triggers that initiate it. Consider two people on a diet. The resistor keeps junk food on their desk and spends all day trying to ignore it. The architect simply refuses to bring the junk food into the house in the first place. True psychological strength isn't about resisting temptation. It is about having the foresight to remove it completely. You can start doing this today. Identify the single most common visual trigger for your worst daily habit and physically remove it. If you scroll in bed, leave your phone charger in another room. Then redesign your digital environment. Unfollow accounts that trigger jealousy or distract you, or literally unplug the console after you finish playing so it takes extra effort to start it up again. Self-control is a temporary fix. To change your behavior for the long term, you must change the spaces where those habits occur. What specific visual trigger are you going to eliminate from your workspace today? Let me know in the comments. Next time, we will look at how to use these exact same laws to make your good habits irresistible.